Bethesda's next big title is on the way, and frankly, I couldn't be more pumped. I love sci-fi settings and Bethesda worlds, and Starfield is a marriage of the two. So in this video, I have a ton of new information to cover from a brand new trailer, an interview, an AMA, and concept art. We talk about the developer's vision for the game, dialogue, vehicles, companions, and more. Let's begin by expanding on the newly dropped trailer into the Starfield: The Endless Pursuit. Bethesda start by saying their goal is for you to have a feeling of pride when you play Starfield, and have many "look what I did" moments. Todd mentions that if you make a game that's very long and people play it for years, it'll be the paths you didn't take that make it special to you. That when you finish a quest and someone asks, "What did you do today?" you can say, "I saved a world." This indicates to me that they plan on adding as many paths and permutations as possible to keep people replaying while discussing their choices and outcomes. Bethesda think they always underestimate how long people are going to play their games. Looking at Skyrim 10 years later, it's continuing to be enjoyed by millions, and that changes how Bethesda wants to create games. They feel like their games have two lives: when they first put everything they can into a game and hand it off to the player, and second, when players make the game their own with mods. Bethesda knows that your experience and other fans' experiences are going to be different. You can make Starfield your own, and that's going to be the magic. The developers came into each game fresh, saying, "Okay, we just did that one, it's over, how do we make it better in every way?" In that regard, Starfield has a more realistic science-based backing to it. Skyrim is a more epic fantasy, where Starfield is a more grounded game and setting focused around exploration. This gives the devs a different take on how they make everything. So that's the sort of thing they latch onto when making new areas, environments, and characters, which I'll run through soon. The mechanics of the world of Skyrim and Starfield are entirely different, but there are similarities. Those are the things Todd and his team like. They like first-person perspectives, even though there will be a third person. They like being able to touch everything, being able to watch the sunset. Then nighttime comes and they sit there and watch the world go by. Those moments make the whole thing believable. They are people on the team that are super into robotics or engineering and can use this lifetime of knowledge they gathered in their work, from the rocks to the clutter to what spacesuits look like. It cuts down to the finer details of, say, food they eat and what are children's toys and what are their bedtime stories. They want to build a universe, not just a game. You can see that in some of the concept art I'll be running through later. Bethesda games always have an emotional trigger, and their games always have a step out moment, like stepping out of the vault in Fallout or out of the cave in Skyrim. Starfield apparently has two step out moments. If I was to assume, it would be stepping out into space in your ship and then onto your first planet through an airlock. Finally, Todd says people always ask what you want to do in space, and that they always come back to the same thing: to see what's out there. It's a safe assumption to therefore say the primary focus on Starfield will be on exploration. So moving on, we have a ton of concept art and animations to get through, but first, let's cover Todd Howard's recent Ask Me Anything. The first question asked was, will there be any robot companions in Starfield? To which Todd answers, yes, kind of. This suggests to me that there won't be a companion in the traditional Bethesda sense where they carry your burdens and fight for you. We see a robot in the trailers and some of the concepts, so we know it will join you in your journey and in your ship, but perhaps it sets off to do its own thing, like collecting resources, repairing, or scouting. The next question focused around character creation, to which Todd replies, really excited about what the team has done with character creation here, including choosing your background, skills, etc. You can also pick your pronoun, he, she, they, and we've recorded all the relevant dialogue to support that choice. So firstly, we're getting a deep character creator like we've come to expect in Bethesda games. It wouldn't be a Bethesda game without it. Second, and most notably, is that Todd let slip that they've already recorded all the dialogue, or at least all that relates to talking to the player character. This means that it's far beyond the simple concepting stage, and it's more than likely that the story beats are complete. The next question was about mods. Todd responds, our plan is to have full mod support like our previous games. Our modding community have been with us for 20 years. We love what they do and hope to see more make a career out of it. This isn't surprising, as Bethesda love their games modded to the brim as it extends their lifespan. This was even mentioned and acknowledged during the Endless Pursuit video. The next question was about tone, to which Todd says, great question and one we debate here often. Tone equals world. What place would you want to explore? Why? Who would you want to be? What would you want to do? How does that pique your curiosity? How is that curiosity rewarded? We like mixing places with elements that you feel comfortable with or can relate to alongside the fantastical. It's often mentioned that Starfield will aim for realism, a NASA punk as they've called it previously. The tone is extremely important to a game like this and I hope they nail it. I do have concerns they will make the art and feel a little too realistic though and not step away from that NASA look. The next question was about voice acting and Todd confirms that there is no substitute for professional actors, which confirms they've stayed away from machine learning tools. In the next question, Todd makes it clear that he understands that it can take a long time to get a game right, but quality matters most and that he is careful with his resources and priorities. It seems the A-team is on Starfield, and I hope so, as a lot of people were pulled away from Fallout 76's development for it, and we know how well 76 did at launch. In the Endless Pursuit video, it seems the devs understood that their games have long lifespans when made with love and care, so if I was a betting man, I'd say this game will have that in spades. Finally, the question was asked, does Starfield have any groundbreaking innovations that will set a high bar for the next generation of action RPGs, similar to what Skyrim has done this last decade? To which Todd answers, we prefer just to show it, which could be next summer. We're happy with the advancements we've been able to make, some of which you can see in the trailer shot in-game. I respect this. I prefer underselling and over-delivering, and showing a product is better than talking about it. Do remember the trailer does represent what they intend the game to look like. They say it's shot in-game, but we've all been burnt enough to know that games rarely look like what they do in the first trailer at release. Finally, let's go through some of the concept art and animations. First being this, a ship which looks like Frontier, the one we saw in the trailer, landing on what we can assume is an alien planet. It's unclear just yet if Frontier will be your only ship during the journey or you'll get others, but we've seen a few different concepts of the ship so far. Like this, the Stellaris. It looks similar to the Frontier, but it's definitely different, chunkier. Is this another ship the player can use, or is it someone else's? It does look quite a bit cooler in my opinion. Though this angle does bring me back to the Frontier. Damn, it's hard to choose. I do hope we get multiple ships to pick from because that changes up the player experience. Todd? Next we have what looks like either inside a ship that's landed on an alien world we just saw, or more likely a base that's staged on said planet. There are too many loose objects around like stools that wouldn't quite work in space travel, and we've already seen what a ship's interior would look like in the trailer. I feel like this may be a base of operations on a world, as this station here looks like it has some importance, like an oxygen refilling or crafting station. We also have two labs, a clinic and biology areas, as well as lockers, which seem to indicate this is a stationary building. Beautiful though it is, this image shows what we can expect in space and nothing more. Though if you're floating around in space while planets are turning and comets are flying, I can foresee doing that for hours. Next is Planet Side, your character exploring another alien world with strange blue markings on the rock formations. I wonder how worlds like this will have the same level of density as Skyrim or Fallout. These are more or less uncharted areas, so will we just be walking for miles without running into a quest or a point of interest? Who knows? Now this is a different ship to the one we saw before. I can see reverse facing thrusters, solar panels and large tanks. It could very well be a space station. Now I'm not exactly sure I'm okay the way food is evolving in 300 years. We see a bento box of worms, grubs and some kind of salad. We know they're worms because in the vacuum sealed container next to it, we see a pack of full food worms. Well, I guess it's okay if it makes me full. We also have some crystal water and a bag of malty meat, no idea what that means. And the rest of the text is illegible. Now, I tried to use a QR code here, but the image is too small. I wouldn't put it past Bethesda to have that linked to some kind of joke. Here we have the concept of the portable dining kit. It's quite complex, but a way to eat food in most environments, including zero G. The water is bagged and able to be dripped onto vacuum dried food to hydrate it. Magnet plates hold utensils and the dinner packs. The packs stack onto each other, as does the dining kits. It's all an elegant solution to space dining. Next we have a frozen world and what looks to be a rover of some kind. This would suggest you can pilot vehicles. I wonder if there'll be multiple kinds suited to different worlds. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. There are also 2 characters. Bethesda have already confirmed that this will be a purely single player experience, so perhaps this will be a human companion you can take with you. It would make sense as space can be a lonely place and there needs to be some socialization. Here we have the extremely detailed airlock doors. They remind me of vault doors and will provide that stepping out fantasy that Bethesda want to nail. I won't even try to break this down as I'm no engineer, but we can see Bethesda's ones had some fun with this. Here we can see it would be foolish not to assume there will be some complex unlocking mechanism that takes 30 seconds and then the light shines through and blinds you as you step out, revealing a vast big world where you have no idea where to start. This seems like someone's home on some planet. No doubt you'll be visiting settled worlds, and shacks like this might be your Bethesda way to steal everything not nailed down. This is almost vault-like. If you break it down, being in a vault is akin to being on a space station. Kids will still need to be taught and raised. Now, Bethesda mentioned that they had to think about child's toys and bedtime stories, and this image might explain that. They want to make a universe that's immersive, so if you visit this child's lair, you'll find items with the same quirkiness that you've come to expect from Bethesda. Look, the robot has a pink bear backpack and a cowboy hat. This is a sort of companion, right? They also suggest cats here. Will there be pets? At least we know they're thinking about exploring more than the surface of worlds, though this ice cave doesn't seem all that interesting yet. There may be cyberpunk-like city worlds. Now we see some more gear concepts. They're shooting for realism, so many outfits have so far been takes on classic NASA astronauts. Though I have to say, I hope they take this idea to the next level because astronauts don't look particularly interesting or badass. Their suits are designed for practicality, not for video games. This one though has a jetpack and what looks to be firearms, so I can't complain. Yes, there will be firearms. As seen here with the player character holding a rifle. This looks like a ship graveyard of some kind. Nice place to gather scrap metal, I'm sure, or maybe a place you crash land. Here's another city world. And finally, last but not least, the robot we saw in the trailer. A few people were worried that the animations would be janky and the rest had faith. Well,
you wanted proof? There it is.
I think it looks great so far. You can definitely tell that those into robotics and engineering at Bethesda are having the time of their life. But check out those thin robot fingers. And with that, I have to leave you. What do you think so far? Are you pumped for Skyrim in space? Let me know below. For all things Bethesda and RPG, keep your eyes peeled. Ciao, friends.